So I recently got an email asking about my Nootropic Stack. And this is something that I can't believe I haven't made a video about yet, because I do take things for my cognitive performance. For the past 5 years, I've had 2 full-time jobs, and both of them are teaching intensive jobs. I'm a university college professor. I've been doing that for 10 years now. And I'm also a full-time breath worker, breath coach, author, and all these things. They're taxing on the mind, taxing on the brain. And so I do everything I can to make sure that I can think clearly and also not get so burnt out on being creative. I want to make sure that I'm giving my brain everything I can to make it perform as well as it possibly can. Actually, about a year ago, I made a video talking about Alpha Brain. So Alpha Brain is a supplement that it's already stacked together. And I gave my review. I also talked about some supplements that I take that I believe were less expensive, but actually had a better effect. And I'll go ahead and put that in the card up here somewhere. Special occasion nootropics. So I'm gonna talk about my everyday stack first, and then I'll talk about a few that I take on specific occasions. I'll tell you why I would take those specifically. As I talk about this, I wanna let you know that I'm gonna put the dosage in this bottom here. I'll just put that there just so I don't have to kind of go over all of the little details as I'm speaking, and that'll just make it easier for you to follow along. I'm also going to link in the description all of the brands that I currently take, and if you use that, a little bit of money goes back to the show. I appreciate anything you could do. If you're gonna buy them anyway, might as well use my links. So thanks for that in advance. So the first one I'm gonna talk about actually is technically not a nootropic, but it has had enormous mental benefits for me, and that is because it helps me sleep better. It's called magnesium L-Threonate, and magnesium L-Threonate is a form of magnesium that crosses the blood-brain barrier. This is especially good for getting deep sleep, which is something that my whole life, I've struggled when it comes to getting deep sleep. I've always been a really light sleeper. When I started taking magnesium L-Threonate, I noticed that I have a sleep tracker that I track, and I've done it for years. And it was a huge change in my deep sleep and REM sleep. For instance, my REM sleep usually wasn't that bad. I usually get about an hour and a half, somewhere around there per night. But my deep sleep was always really bad. And this was, and it wasn't terrible, but I generally would never get more than an hour of deep sleep. When I started taking magnesium L-Threonate, and I've continued to take it, I'm planning to take it forever if possible. I always get at least an hour and a half of deep sleep, if not 2 hours of deep sleep per night. And I've noticed it. You know, it's something that I can tell. And as far as decision making, as far as handling stress, as far as memory and recall skills, being able to get deep recuperative sleep is essential. Another one that I take every day is DMAE. You might have heard me talk about DMAE. It is a very inexpensive supplement. DMAE is something that you might see, most of the time people use it in topical creams. So it's actually very good for your skin if you use it topically, but I'm taking it orally. I take it every single day. The reason why I take it is it's an acetylcholine precursor. And even though there's not an enormous amount of research to verify that it works and it works well and it works for everybody, I know it works really well for me. I know that I feel it when I take it. And there is plenty of research to show that, you know, it's worth taking. I'm just saying there are other ones that are precursors of acetylcholine that are maybe more studied than DMAE. But I know that it works for me, and it is dirt cheap. It is absolutely dirt cheap. Also has been shown to have some effects for prevention of the decline as we get older when it comes to losing some of our cognitive abilities. That's something that also is closely linked with poor sleep. So this combination, and I'll take DMAE in the morning with usually with my other supplements that I'll take in the morning or with breakfast, or you can take it pretty much any time of day. If you're into lucid dreaming, DMAE has been associated with increased lucid dreams. The next one is one that might surprise you, but I would say that it's probably the best nootropic that exists. and I take it every single day. It's called creatine. and of course, creatine is simply, it's the most researched supplement that there is. It's absolutely safe. It's been researched more than any other supplement that's out there. And typically people associate creatine with getting them gains, right? Muscle growth and development, which it's also very good for that. But creatine has been shown to increase memory and recall. But one really cool thing that it does that a lot of other nootropics cannot claim is that creatine has also been shown to increase a person's ability to reason. So it's all good and well to be able to remember and to have that sharp memory, but if you can't really use those memories, if you can't process things, if you can't think critically, then I mean, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good to remember everything. So ultimately, I love creatine for that reason. It's also been shown to increase the amount of energy in your brain. The fact that it's also going to be beneficial for all of the muscles in your body, including your heart muscle. I mean, every aspect of life is benefited pretty much through taking creatine. That's why I don't ever plan to stop taking it. Now, I will take it in a pill form every single day so that I don't forget to take it, but I also, in addition to the pill form, I will take it with my protein shake if I do a protein shake like after a workout or something like that. So I've never had a problem tolerating creatine, although sometimes people do have maybe some stomach upset or some things like that, which is typical with just about any supplement, you know, that can happen. But when it comes to creatine, that one right there, I plan to take till the day I die. So basically, my everyday nootropic list is not incredibly heavy. Those are my three big ones. And so those are the ones that I take every single day because I don't want to spend a ton of money every single day on this. And I really just want to get the things that are gonna really make me feel good. And that's my daily supplement stack when it comes to nootropics. Now, having said that, just because that is my daily thing doesn't mean that I don't regularly take other supplements. So one of the supplements that I take regularly, but not every single day, is alpha GPC. So alpha GPC also is an acetylcholine precursor, and it is a very powerful precursor when it comes to producing the acetylcholine. Typically, I will take somewhere between 300 to 600 milligrams. And the times that I take it the most is whenever I know that maybe I'm going to go into a challenging situation, or maybe it's the first time that I'm giving a presentation. And so whenever it's the first time I'm giving a presentation and there's a lot of details, there's a lot of things that I want to make sure I remember, I want to give myself the benefit of the doubt. I don't take it every single day, primarily because I don't feel like I need to. And if I can avoid adding an enormous amount of expense to my daily life, I do. I typically take it whenever I absolutely know, okay, I need to be super sharp. Another one that I like to take a lot is L-Theanine. L-Theanine has been shown to be a nootropic, especially because it has the ability to help with alpha waves in our brain. So if you're in a state of alpha, that's an incredible state to be in. It's something that is associated with meditation, but it's especially the reason why I like to take L-Theanine is for two things. One, it helps to calm the mind. Maybe you're under the gun when it comes to a deadline. Well, you're actually not going to think quite as well. Obviously, you know, if you're a fan of this channel, you know that there's an enormous amount of breath work that I do, and typically this, when it comes to being anxious, is not a huge problem. But it is something that we all face, right? And you can't always sit down and do a whole bunch of breath work to put yourself back in the best, you know, frame of mind. I also like it because anything that's going to help me produce more alpha waves, anything that's going to help me be more creative is great. I'm a creative type. And in my breathwork sessions, if you're in my Patreon club, I consider that one of that's my art, is to create breathwork sessions that have specific effects, and so the music and how I'm going to put together all of the different techniques and combine them into some kind of a perfect end product. I sometimes will use L-Theanine for that. Also, when I write my books or whenever I do other creative pursuits like music, I kind of like having some L-Theanine. So it's something that I generally do, especially whenever I want to feel a little bit more creative. One of the supplements that I will also do whenever I am stressed, maybe some kind of a problem, maybe someone in the family is sick, I have, you know, a lot of things going on, there's just a lot of stressors, I will take phosphatidylserine. Phosphatidylserine is something I took it in grad school. Whenever I was doing two things in grad school. I was detoxing from a opioid addiction at the same time as teaching, being a student teacher, and I was also you know, of course, in grad school, so I was doing my graduate thesis and all these things. I took a lot of phosphatidylserine to calm my brain down and to help me maintain focus. So ultimately, that is only something I take whenever things are getting really crazy, when life is I know that's I'm about to go into a rough patch, or if there's some kind of a season of my life that is just really chaotic, I will reach for phosphatidylserine. I typically will take between, usually I'm going to shoot for about 300 milligrams of phosphatidylserine per day, and I'll take that in the mornings, and I'll also take it generally with L-Theanine, because those are the ones that I take specifically to help me during stressful times and times whenever I want to be able to do a lot of deep focusing and have some creativity. When it comes to other things, there are some other ones out there like Bacopa. The only problem with Bacopa is it's kind of, for me at least, in my experience and in a lot of research, Bacopa has, you have to take it for a month before it really is going to completely start working in its fullest form. So that's one downside of Bacopa. It takes a while before you have the buildup, I guess, in your system so that you're really getting all the benefits. However, Bacopa is very well tolerated. I've never heard of anybody that I know of who's taken Bacopa and had any kind of problems, you know, any kind of side effects. It's also something that typically really does work quite well when it comes to memory and recall. So I don't want to downplay it too much, but it's something that I myself, I don't generally use very often. One that I will cycle now and then is Huperzine A. Huperzine A is one that I have used actually quite a bit in my life. I used to take Huperzine A every single day, and then one day I just ran out and I forgot to get more. Maybe I needed a nootropic, I don't know. But I just decided, I don't know, I just didn't get any more. And so I was like, okay, it seems like this daily stack that I described earlier is working just fine. So occasionally I'll get some Huperzine A and I will go through a bottle of it. And I do notice that my memory is sharper. I remember names better. This is something especially I'll do in a super busy month where I'm doing a lot of workshops or retreats, because those are the times whenever I'll meet a lot of people. And one of the downsides of meeting a lot of people is that you forget a lot of names. If you're a person like myself and it's difficult to remember names, or for some reason it's just like not your thing, actually there are a lot of methods to remembering people's names. Most of it has to do with effort. But Huperzine A is something that I do like. Whenever I've got a lot of workshops, I'm going to see a lot of new people and meet a lot of new faces, and I would like to remember the names that go along to those faces. So Huperzine A, it also happens to be really good whenever you pair Huperzine A with alpha GPC. It also pairs very well with anything that's going to boost acetylcholine in your brain, because it's going to help you use that acetylcholine more effectively and essentially not run through it so fast. We'll just say it that way. So those are the ones that are my favorites. Those are the ones that the ones I talked about earlier, the every single day ones, creatine and DMAE. Those are my every single day ones. Of course, I also take magnesium L-Threonate every single night. And those three right there are really, if I were to say, the essentials. And if you're on a budget, it's cheap. It's cheap and it works, and you don't have to, you're not paying for a lot of hype. And for every single day, that's what I would go with. The other ones that I mentioned are the ones that I would say are good in situations. I only use them situationally. Like today, I actually did take L-Theanine and alpha GPC, because I got a lot of things I'm working on right now. So I want to be really as sharp as I possibly can be. So in addition, because I know today is going to be a heavy day. So that's why I took those additional ones. Anyway, guys, I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. Take a look at my at the list that I've got below this, and of course, if you are going to purchase them, use my links. A little bit of money goes back to the show, and I really do appreciate that as well. Guys, thanks so much. I hope this has been a help. Don't forget to go out there and be kind as you're able to focus better. Focus on kindness. All right, I'll see you guys next time.